Hi, this is Firestarter, and we are back on the 4-inch scale of the S.I.C, which is this one, the S.I.C Kiwami Tamashii Kamen Rider Decade. And what we have here is kind of different from the first or the regular released S.I.C Decade. And then we have here the logos and whatnot, and just giving you a quick tour at the back. DCD! And some things you want to know about Kamen Rider Decade, which I will be telling you anyway. So let's move over to the actual review. Following the S.I.C Kiwami Tamashii Kamen Rider Kuga, Kamen Rider Decade also has its own Tamashii stage. You can use the stage in two ways. It's either you go the traditional way by using the arms, or taking the plug out at the back of Kamen Rider Decade and fasten this through the arm. Either scenarios can actually work, but I feel it's more secure if you use the latter. He is also inclusive with two pairs of hands to hold the ride booker on either side of his arm. The ride booker doesn't open up just like Volume 51, but it still retains the weaponized gimmick just like the S.I.C. There are two kinds of handles to work with to form different kinds of sidearms. First is a slightly angled handle so that Decade can use this arsenal as a gun mode. And then there's another straight edge, and with the combination of the blade, now what you are looking at is in sword mode. You'll be happy to know that the extra hands are not as fragile as other S.I.C Kiwami Tamashii releases. But the downside is, it is not as secure just like the former releases, and these extra hands tend to flap around. That makes managing him holding the weapons even more difficult. And last but not the least, this figure also comes with an extra head, which rides on the premise that you can change the eyes to a more violent emotion. You can change the default head from the squarish peg, which is a new design in the S.I.C Kiwami Tamashii line, and fit the new head back just as it was with the default. Either way, in my opinion, it doesn't create that much impact, except if you look closely, you will see the difference only on the compound eyes. In our understanding, this follows Volume 51, but when it was transitioned into Kiwami Tamashii, there are some changes on the articulation points and the overall design of Kamen Rider Decade. But let's go through the articulation points first. We have a nice neck and head ball joint, so that we have a good range of motion there. We have a hinge on the shoulder pads, and as you can see here, this arm or shoulder has two segments, which is you can pull this one down so you can lift the arm in a 90-degree angle, so it helps in a way. And then we have upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and it's a first for me since I've been collecting Kiwami Tamashis, that you can easily remove the arm just like so and plug it back in without any problems and whatsoever. We have an upper torso and ab swivel, but he doesn't have any waist articulation because it's molded all together from the waist and on the belt. He doesn't have this open and closed gimmick on the Deca driver, and then we have a swiveling leg, but it doesn't lift itself on the side. Double jointed knees and swivel here, and that's it. That's all the articulation points on Kamen Rider Decade. The changes are these parts here used to be translucent pink or magenta color, but now it's just one flat pink base. And then some of the changes also are on the inner thighs and inner shin parts. On Volume 51, these parts are smooth and also somewhat metallic in color, but now we have just one plain white, but it has more detail than the bigger Kamen Rider Decade. Kamen Rider Decade in Volume 51 has die-cast parts, which mainly are on the knees, but now it's just plain plastic. And some of the colors here, just like everything you see here, are consistently white, especially on this X here and the inner parts here on the arms and on the legs. But before, it's like bluish in color, and then this retains in white. Next are the outer thigh area. these used to be in translucent pink or magenta color, but now it's just real flat. So there are some changes on the modes and how this one is executed from volume 51, but for some reason I understand how it's really difficult to make that transition to have translucent parts here, and it is because he doesn't transform into his final form. So that's a simple explanation why we don't have the same mold or translucent parts and die-cast parts also on this Kiwami Tamashii figure. It doesn't really bother me that Kamen Rider Decade in S.I.C. Kiwami Tamashii doesn't have any parts for his final form. What I'm really disappointed at is Kamen Rider Decade didn't have even one single rider card, which we have seen a lot on volume 51. It feels like Bandai has compensated this with the Tamashii stage, but it really feels incomplete without a card. Though some S.I.C. collectors may say that you get more out of volume 51 than this Kiwami Tamashii. But in my opinion, this actually feels better because he has better articulation points than the bigger sized S.I.C. I do not really highly recommend getting this figure, but I'm riding on the premise that you don't have the bigger version, thus making this one just feels okay. And for strong S.I.C. Kiwami Tamashii collectors, what I can say is what he has to offer against the price point of this figure is just spot on. And that is my review of the S.I.C. Kiwami Tamashii Kamen Rider Decade. If you want to know the posabilities for this figure, always check out the photos at the end of the video. And subscribe to my blogspot for a full written review. This is Far Starter. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on my next review.